and your stress levels are still really high, your body is not going to be getting the signals that it needs to say, okay, I'm in resting mode, I can start healing these tissues, I can start cleansing these organs. If your body knows that it's in a high stress mode, it won't cleanse. It's that simple. So one of the first things that people usually want to include in their detox plan is plenty of resting time. And that includes plenty of sleep. Because even, modern day research has shown that when we sleep, that's when the deepest healing happens. All our different organs can communicate with each other, basically tell each other what they need. And yeah, basically just set aside time, if you can, of course. Now then we get into the question, well, which one am I going to do? Now I have some time set aside for myself. I have one day, 2 days, a week, however long it is. And what I usually tell people is, if you've never done a cleanse before, start with 1 day. Keep it simple. Whenever you do a cleanse, it's important to know what foods to eat before and what foods to eat after, because that's also one of the bigger pitfalls. Going into a cleanse, good foods include a lot of green foods, so a lot of salad. If you can, cut out a lot of the stuff that you guys have been eating, whether it's sugar, wheat, any of the typical foods that we categorize as being, not necessarily the best.
Dairy? Dairy
acidic?
Yeah, dairy I would cut out too. Because dairy does tend to clog the lymph system. And the lymph system is the main channel for elimination. And basically the diet before, you want to make sure, at least 2 days before, make sure you're drinking plenty of water, plenty of green foods, a little bit of fruit's okay, but what I find is if you're eating high glycemic foods, in other words, foods that'll jump your blood sugar, even fruit, what's going to happen is, let's say it's 2 days before, right? And your blood sugar's going like this, up and down, up and down. When you get to the cleanse and your body starts detoxing, your body's just going to go into kind of shock mode. So if you can keep your blood sugar levels as stable as possible before the cleanse, that will really help the transition.
What about soy?
If you look at the history of soy, traditionally the only foods that were consumed were fermented foods, like tempeh, miso. Miso can be really cleansing. I would definitely try miso, a few days before. You could even do miso during a cleanse, actually. It's really high in minerals, really high in enzymes. Actually, if you have detox symptoms, whether it's headaches or fatigue or nausea, having just a cup of warm miso soup will help your stomach. It'll help with the headache. Actually, that's really good that you brought that up.
And you can do that during a cleanse, a miso soup?
Yes, definitely.
Even a 1 day cleanse?
Yeah, you could do it during a 1 day cleanse.
I guess you have.
And we're going to talk about different programs too.
Recommend it with warm water, not boiled. You don't want to kill the enzymes. It's a live food. It's fermented soy, so you want to get all that in there.
But make sure you're only doing like maybe 1 to 2 cups a day, because it does have kind of a high amount of sodium, so it's best to keep those sodium levels a little bit lower. Okay, so let's say you've done a 1 day cleanse, and that 1 day cleanse could be a simple raw food diet. It could be a juice cleanse. So basically my time at the tree, the thing that they used the most as far as juice cleansing was green juices. Green juices have the minerals that all your organs need. Minerals are kind of like, in a sense, the coal of our organs. I know that's kind of a bad analogy, but they're like these super dense, super high energetic elements which are, especially the liver and the colon really need to help detox.
Could you give us an example of a green juice?
Certainly. The most popular green juice at the tree was celery and cucumber.
Just
that was the
blend
base.
it up together or juice together?
Juice together. And honestly, proportions, it didn't even matter. You could do 80% celery, 20% cucumber, or vice versa, or whatever combination you wanted.
You can also add herbs to it if you want. Parsley, something else. If it juices, it's really nice to have Put some other flavor in, cilantro.
Dandelion is a great addition to green juices. That's really healing for the liver.
But isn't celery rather salty?
Celery is high in organic sodium. So basically what the body doesn't need, it'll just eliminate. Whereas with inorganic sodium, like rock salt, iodized salt, because it's inorganic, the body doesn't know what to do with it, so it tends to store it in the tissues. So what usually happens is if you've had a high salt diet over the course of your life, and you do a totally salt-free detox program, you're going to notice those salt cravings coming up. Because a lot of that's coming out of your tissues, it's moving back into your bloodstream, and then to be eliminated.
How does Himalayan salt fit into that?
You know, there's a lot of debate about it. I personally like it. Some people say Celtic sea salt is better, and some people say no salt at all. When it comes to that issue, I really feel it's personal, because there's no real scientific research to say whether it's really good for you or not good for you. You know what I mean? It's kind of like there's scientific research on both sides of the coin.
So there's plenty of research, but no conclusive.
Right.
There's plenty of opinions.
Now, how's my wheatgrass for a green drink?
Pretty detoxing.
Wheatgrass is good. When I was at the tree, I saw a lot of people who would use it to excess on their cleanses. And what happens is if you strip the body too quickly, you tend to lose minerals. You tend to get dehydrated, even if you are drinking. And, you know, people, especially when you detox, it's good to be gentle to your body. You know, that's why I say start with one day, because the body is an efficient machine. If you give it what it needs at certain times, it will heal itself. A lot of people think they need to, like, you know, detox. It's like this pressure that they're putting through their system. Like, if I take the right herbs, it's just going to, you know, heal it all. It's like, no, the body's only going to do what the body wants to do. So really, when you plan your detox program, it's good to go with what you really feel you want to do, rather than what you should do, if that makes sense. So if you've never done a cleanse before and you're like, you know, I kind of just want to try just eating raw one day, all one day, and just see what happens. That in itself is a detox. And then as you get further down the road, you might say, you know, I really want to try a 3-day juice fast. And of course, green juices are preferential. And then after that, you might get into an herbal program. It's kind of an evolution. Oh, go ahead.
When you say green juices are preferential, what comes up for me is that carrot juice is the most common one, and that's high in sugar.
Right.
But what other things, like beets and root vegetables, stay away from those?
Those are good additions. If a person has diabetes or huge blood sugar issues, it's good to take very, very small amounts of that. At the tree, we would have our green juices, and then we would have, you know, a little pitcher of beet juice that everyone would have to share among, you know, 17 glasses. So you could only pour in like maybe an ounce max. If you find that you do well with fruit, or you're the type of person that runs really good on lots of carbohydrates, I would say throw in, you know, carrot juice, beet juice, apple juice. Those are all really healing juices.
Are they considered carbohydrates?
Oh yeah, definitely.
They're not starches, but they're carbohydrates.
Especially when you take away the fiber. I mean, just straight carrot juice will shoot up your blood sugar faster than a lot of things. A green juice mixture? Most people start with about 64 ounces over the course of a day.
Plus your 64 ounces of water too?
Not necessarily. See, when it comes to detox, you start getting in touch with your body more, especially if you have space set aside. So the first day you might be so thirsty because you're obviously off of food, so that's your main source of nourishment. And you might drink all 64 ounces plus a couple glasses of water. Next day your body might only want half of that, 32 ounces of juice and maybe more water or less.
Okay.
So really, like, these are suggestions, but ultimately it's really good to, especially when you're on the cleanse, just take the time to go inward and really feel what your body needs. Because that's really the best piece of advice I can give people. Above and beyond any diet, anything you put in your body, is just get in touch with it and ask it what it truly wants. And once you do that, I mean, your body will take you on a wonderful journey. Detox, you know, building up, it's amazing.